Most people couldn't tell you even a little bit on how to build a house. Most people couldn't tell you how to take apart an engine. I couldn't. I probably had to cut the mounting brackets to get it out. But people could tell you their specialty. People could tell you what they went to school for. People could tell you what classes they were really good in high school and general ed. But a lot of people couldn't tell you the makings up of a house. The foundation, the exterior walls, rim board, subfloor, different kind of joists, you know, truss joists, engineered joists, different trusses, parallel cord, scissor, blah, blah, blah. Those are examples. And I know those things because I've built a couple things in my life. I'm a crappy builder, but I've built a couple things. But I couldn't tell you how to take apart an engine. Could I do repairs on a vehicle? Yes. These are just examples of a non-specialized person. I'm not good in any one good thing. I'm not great in any one thing. And it's probably a little bit with how my brain works. I've almost purposely not specialized in anything. I will admit, I was pretty good in the military. As one of my leaders said, I am the worst soldier they've ever personally had in their entire career. This was an E7. But you are the finest goddamn infantryman I've ever met. That's somebody that sucked at shooting, so everything else I was pretty good at. I was great at following instructions for my job. Great at following instructions that had nothing to do with my job. Specializations, college degrees. You got people that specialize in one field, and they spend their entire career on that. And I get it. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go out, get your education in surgery, which we should have a specialization for that, and different specializations above and under that for advanced brain surgeries or installing Neuralink. Man, what a time to be alive. But you get what I mean. We don't have to not have specialties. We don't have to not spend a career, a decade, learning something. I do believe that that's a pretty good system for a lot of things. Do I think you need to go to school to be a lawyer for 8 years? I'm sorry. Probably not. Do I think to be a general nurse, a starting nurse, you need 4 years of school? I don't. I think schooling's a little overrated. I think you can do basic math and measuring of drugs and stuff like that and poking people with needles in under 4 years. Now, general education, blah, 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 that you have to take in college for some reason, even though you just got out of gen ed. I'm getting off track. I tried to do scripts for this video and other videos, and I just can't. I'm sorry. What I'm trying to get at is that there's a lot of different things out there that people have no clue how to do. They have no clue if concrete expands or shrinks when it dries. Let me tell you something, it does neither. I'm sure there's a concrete guy that'll be like, well, technically it slightly shrinks. I don't know. It doesn't to me. And when you pour it and you screed it, that is the level that it's at. It's a chemical bonding, water, Portland, I don't know. I don't understand the makeup of concrete as much as I do of that concrete has some guarantees. One, that it's going to crack. 2, nobody's going to steal it. 3, it gets hard. Those are guarantees about concrete. Everything else I know very little about. I can't finish concrete, probably to save my life. I never really tried, but I could pour it. I could pour a foundation. You want something in the ground, I can put it in the ground for you. Well, not for you. For myself, I can do it. My point is that, and not everybody's like this, but you get a doctor, and he spends 20, 30 years being a doctor and does nothing else. And I'm not saying every doctor. There's plenty of medical professionals that leave the field and go into different researches outside of what they were practicing in. So one guy might be a general practical doctor and then switch fields later on in life and go do something in research outside of general practice medicine, like something more advanced or something, advanced cancer research. That's great. Still the same field of medicine. It would be cool. And this is some dude. He was a doctor or an engineer doctor. I don't know what order it went in, but engineer, doctor, pilot to space guy to astronaut. I don't know why I said space guy. But anyways, he went to space, or he trained to go to space. I think he actually went to space. Those are the guys I'm talking about. highly specialized. If those guys wanted to, they could write books. They could write. They could research so many subjects. You've got your Thomas Jeffersons, your Thomas Youngs, your Da Vinci's, all these guys that did so much in their life before they were even 30. Like, that is mind-blowing to me today, because for generations, we've gotten rid of that. Don't get me wrong, during Da Vinci's time, there was still specialization. But most people had a pretty good understanding, like your farmer had a pretty good understanding of the weather, cycles, crops, all this stuff. And I'm not saying farmers today don't have that. I would say that rural people that work in different, that live and work in the rural communities that they live in have more diverse knowledge and skill sets than any other people. Well, the other people would be the city people. But you know what I mean? City people are very specialized. And I get that. But I've met mechanics that are phenomenal welders. I've met people that replace well heads, well pumps, that are phenomenal welders. That are educated in it. They worked on pipelines. They did years in welding, and now they do, they want to live local, so they have to take another job. And so they do that. I've met guys that build homes, that pour concrete like a master concrete layer, your flat work. And that takes skill. I'm not saying there aren't people out there that are not specialized in different specialties. I'm saying that we have become more of a get one education, get one specialty, go out and do that for 20, 30 years, and maybe you can go do something else. But most people stay within their lane. Most people don't go be a doctor, then an engineer, then a pilot, and then an astronaut. Most people don't do that. And that guy is probably super smart, by the way, to do that. Those are all physical and mental in their own way. Unlike construction, so you got your guy that could build a home but also pour concrete. Well, that's literally, don't get me wrong, you've got to be pretty smart to know how to do both really well. But either way, those are both, I would not consider a guy that pours concrete an astronaut. Could a guy that pours concrete be an astronaut? 100%. But most guys that choose to pour concrete, they're not going to want to be an astronaut. I've only met one guy in construction that wanted to actually be an astronaut, to believe it or not. Either way, we need to start focusing more on the idea of multiple specialties, and I truly believe that. I think that it all starts with education. Education is eroded to the point where you have this connected world and disconnected society. We've taken the world, which is all interconnected. The trees rely on the weather and the climate, and the grass relies on that too, and the stuff underneath the trees rely on the tree to provide some shade so the ground doesn't get so hot, so that these little shrubs can, everything is so connected. And yet we created a society that disconnects people from knowledge, from education, from systems that are all interconnected in some way. We've gone out of our way to separate people from that system of I'm creating words here. The interconnection of everything. Let's be clear. I want a lawyer that's really good at being a lawyer. I want a surgeon, when I'm under his knife, to know that he's a surgeon. Not that he's a surgeon as a second practice. I want to know that my doctor knows his medicine. That's hyper specialization is needed in an advanced society. To not want hyper specialization is not what I'm preaching. It's not what I'm saying. I believe we need really good engineers that are really good at their job and actually like it and have a passion for it and want to hyper specialize in that. I also want my engineer to possibly maybe have a garden, or maybe when he's a kid, his parents gardened. I want people to have, when you conversate with somebody and you get on their subject, you can tell they're really passionate about it, but they're not even in the field. That's the kind of guy I want. That's the kind of person that I want America to build a foundation on is a guy that's a surgeon, but then you start talking about muscle cars and a guy's like, yeah, my hobby is all about muscle engines, muscle cars, all those old engines, all those old cars, and he could just run with it. I want a guy, I want an engineer that when you speak to him about, let's just say, weather, he's just hyper fixated on weather, just some random thing. And he's like, yeah, I got all my micrometers and stuff, my weather gauges and stuff at home, and I keep track of all this stuff. And he's like, I write it all down. That is awesome. That's what I'm talking about. I still want my doctor to really love medicine, but I also want my doctor to maybe have a hobby that kind of match, kind of like a mechanic. Maybe he welds. I highly doubt I've ever met a doctor that welds or has welded. That'd be interesting. Go ahead and comment that if you're a doctor that welds. Either way, I want more old school farmers. I want the guy that can trap and knows how to trap. Not just can trap, but actually understands the mechanics of it, how nature operates, how he tracks things to know where to set trap. I want a guy that can hunt. I want a guy that can fish. I want a guy that can farm. I want a guy that can fix his tractor. I want a guy that can look at a tree and be like, yeah, that's an oak. Yeah, that's a balsam. Yeah, that's some random pine tree. I'm not that guy. I don't know what trees are without them leaves being on it, and I can't point at different pine trees and be like, oh, those are that jack and red and whatever. And I grew up in the woods. It's my own fault for not learning these things. But either way, what I'm trying to get at is we don't have to specialize in everything. General knowledge, common sense comes from your environment, and we're creating environments that are selective and closed off from everything. A society that disconnects itself from the natural order of things isn't chaotic. It's not good. It's not evil. What is the word? Man, when you're trying to find that specific word to make this video that much better, it's hard. When you take people and you remove them from the natural order of things, from the natural need for knowledge, it's bad. You get what we have today. You get people that will tell you, why do you care about that? Or where's your degree in it? You could be just talking about something you're interested in. It could be anything. I've never had a car guy tell me, why are you interested in that? You're not a mechanic. You're not an engineer for vehicles. I've never had a car guy do that. But as soon as you speak on another subject in the medical field, in astrophysics, in archaeology or history, all of a sudden it's like, where's your degree? And it's like, my bad. I didn't know I couldn't not read the research documents that you didn't publish either. I want a society that's accepting in having lots of knowledge in different areas. I would love a society that has lots of knowledge in history and the history side of things, along with the physical side of how the world operates, such as farming, gardening, mechanics, engineering, the physical side of how the world around us works. We have gotten away from that. We've divorced ourselves. We've divided ourselves, where individual comes in again. Indivisible, not divisible. You can't take somebody and divide them from their environment, from their culture, from their history, from their lineage, from their ancestry. Anyways, this tree is all interconnected. I thought I killed it. I didn't. It's nice and alive. I heard that you should shake it, like wiggle the roots a little bit. I don't know if that's true or not when they're young, not when they're old, but just give it a little wiggle. It's supposedly that helps it. And so does the wind. The wind can do that. Hyper specialize, please. Hyper specialize in something. Get obsessed with that something, but also be obsessed with other knowledge, other fields, other ideas, other industry. Get fixated on different things because that's normal. It's normal for people to want to do. They want to explore. They want to climb Mount Everest. They want to go and see the Grand Canyon. They want to go see the ocean. They want to go swim in the ocean. Humans want to do all these great things. Now, they may not seem great anymore because so many people have climbed Mount Everest. So many people have gone to space. so many people have done this and that and all the other things. Everybody's gardened. Like, gardening's an ancient, archaic system of feeding yourself. Like, why do I need to know how to do that? I don't know. Just be prepared. Why do I need to know how to start a chainsaw? I don't know why you would. I know why, because trees fall over and I need to remove them from the road so I can go on with my day, and so the people that might travel the same road as me don't have to deal with it. Why do I need to know how to tow a vehicle? Why do I need to know how to pull a vehicle out of the ditch? I don't know, because your neighbor gets in the ditch, or because your buddy got a flat tire. These are all general knowledge things that I'm pointing out. I'm not getting into space or astrophysics or physics in general. I'm I'm losing track here. But you guys know what I mean. Learn how to do more than one thing. If that's what this video could be called, it could be learn how to do more than one thing. Screw the education system, screw high school and grade school that puts you into these categories, and the ASVAB separates you into these things. Tests are phenomenal. I believe in tests. Everything from the ASVAB to the SAT to whatever else is out there, an IQ test. All great. I believe in them. I think they're great standards. BMI, I think, is a great standard because most people don't understand how fat and muscle tissue works in the skeletal frame. So it's best just to tell them when they're overweight. Your heart can only take so much weight. Genes matter too. But society isn't built off of singular people. Society is built on the indivisible parts of a group of people. You know what I mean? I almost said collective. I refuse to go towards that word. Or the union. These words that Marxism stole. There are great systems out there, and all those systems are interconnected. Engineering has a lot to do with the physical world, as all you engineers know. Mechanics have a lot to do with how the world operates. The world operates in a very mechanical sense, a very analog way. And we can even argue that computers operate in very analog sort of way. It's just circuitry, electricity. And that's the worst example of the mechanics. I will agree with that. So maybe not computers. I'd have to think about that one a little more. Everybody knows how to use Google search or a search engine. Everybody knows how to go on Amazon and search for what they need. But not very many people know how to go in a library and find a book, believe it or not. And I've kind of forgotten. I kind of know it. I kind of get it. I can't remember what the Dewey Decimal System or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. But these are systems that kind of make sense. Like, we measure speed by miles per hour, kilometers per hour. We have a standard distance, a standard measurement for distance. We have a standard measurement for weight and mass. We have all these things that are connected with each other, that run together very well. And yet physics, you'll meet a PhD holder for advanced physics or quantum mechanics, and never once has that guy been a doctor, or never once has that guy been, by doctor I mean medical, because PhD you're a doctor. That guy's never grown a plant in his life. That guy's never even probably talked to a botanist. You know, that's what I'm getting at. I think the podcasting world has kind of helped with this. Joe Rogan, your other random podcasters that kind of just have a little bit of everybody on. Your cultural discussions, your physics discussion, your ancient history discussion, your ancient alien discussions. All these conspiracy discussions are everywhere. And I love conspiracy, but let's be real here. You don't have to believe all of them. Sometimes you can just treat them as regular old stories and be like, huh, that's interesting. As a little side note, I should probably end this video getting worked up here, because I honestly, it's almost disgusting how hard education, the Marxist education system, has done and has successfully divorced people from the world, from how the world is systematically operated in every metric possible. It can be measured. That everything on planet Earth, and we've taken the humans that are a part of this, that evolved on this planet, and we've disconnected it from the natural order of things. Wanting to gain knowledge is the natural order of things. Do that. Comment, like, subscribe, the usual YouTube stuff. We'll see you guys next time.